Hello, my fellow travelers. Thank you for joining the journey. I'm in a really great mood because when I got the idea for the episode I wanted to make today, actually I was like feeling a little chilly and I went to look for a sweatshirt and then I found my sasquatch sweatshirt. So I figured this would be a great time. I was like, I feel like telling this story, and I was like, what are the fun stories I have? And then I found this sweatshirt. So I got this in Upper Lake, Michigan, and so I want to just rewind though, and it's kind of fun that it's gotten really popular. The symbol, you see a lot more like t-shirts and stickers and things like that. So Sasquatch are getting noticed. They might Yeti. Abominable snowman. I'm trying to think, there's various names of this, what's a somewhat mythological creature, but my experience is that it's very real, and it's a very real species. There's probably like subspecies or however that would work, but I've had my own experiences now, and I've talked to many people that have had some really incredible experiences as well. So it's my experience is that the perspective that I've come to develop over time is that it's something that a person gets initiated into, because I just observed that that's how it happened for me, and that I have since initiated to other people. It was like their first time hearing it was with me. So the first time was 4 years ago, and as I shared in a prior video titled My Experiences with Extraterrestrials, where I describe an event that happened when I was 6 years old of going aboard a craft with Grace. So now that memory, I accidentally had hypnotized myself 4 years ago. And I thought, I'm just going to sit down and do this guided meditation listening to a QHHT session from someone close to me, and didn't realize I was hypnotizing myself. And so that memory played back like a movie. And at the time, it was hard to really know what to do. It was such a profound impact on my life of like, oh my gosh, this happened, and like, what does that mean for me now? And I tried to talk to people about it, but it was hard to find people that really, they were just as stunned as me, I suppose, to hear something like that. So they didn't know what to make of it, or question whether it really happened, which is understandable. So I said, well, I'm gonna go, where are there people that I can talk to about this kind of thing that would know about it? And so I went to a place out in Washington State where there's like a big mountain, and there's a lot of craft that show up, whether it's extraterrestrial or military, who really knows. I had a dream saying that it was a lot of military craft just playing or whatnot. And I mean, I definitely saw, there's a video with the mothership that was quite profound. So, who this is can be hard to know, but there definitely were Sasquatch there. And gosh, it's, when you hear it, it's like, it's like you can sense that it's not fully human, but not fully animal. Like you can hear both aspects in the voice and the vocalizations, and they will tend to mask them. The sound, it can initially sound like an owl or coyotes or a dog barking. And to people that are not like, it doesn't even occur to them that something like Sasquatch could be real, that's what they're gonna hear. And it's like the consciousness in this video game rendering, it's sort of like the individual consciousness can choose whether they want to add that to their story or not. It's not going to get like forced upon them if it's too much for their consciousness. So this is just a game we're playing for fun. So some people, the information can like rock their reality so much. At the same time, we're at a point in human evolution or evolution of the collective consciousness where, yeah, people are sort of choosing their path of growth, and it's an opportunity to really like upgrade our avatar and upgrade our stories, and if we want to upgrade the game board, you know, everything, just like as if it were a video game, using the power of the third eye and the vortex of our consciousness, which is the driver of all of this, everything fundamentally being consciousness. So we get to be the captain of our own ship. So I was there at this like ranch with the big event and a lot of people that were experiencers, and I just was ready to watch the light show, you know, the ships in the sky, and there were ships on the mountain, or lights appearing on the mountain, and so I went to this area called the Pleiadian Circle with like a couple of Adirondack chairs, and it's sort of this beautiful little circular area, and I was like, oh, okay. I was surprised no one's out here, and I had my little sleeping bag, and I was like, this is a great spot to watch it from, and it's like big field and beautiful big mountain in front of you, and just really powerful, energetic spot. Probably a lot of like vortexes and portals there. It's definitely like highly active area. And supposedly I think there's an underground base in that mountain, from what I remember. So anyway, I'm there getting ready to watch the light show, and then I hear some guys walking up, and they're like, we're gonna see some Sasquatch tonight. And I was like, my ears perked up. I was like, Sasquatch? I was like, I guess in my head I was sort of like, well, yeah, that's probably real too, because it was like by then, you know, my reality had been like significantly opened of like remembering, you know, what is real and what is out there. So we were seeing craft. There was a couple of us, and we would continuously see like orange and maroon colored craft, and then we'd simultaneously be hearing the Sasquatch like hooting and hollering and just letting out these loud, and they were doing it like when we would get excited about seeing the craft, and then they would make noise simultaneously. And my one friend was recording it with the night, like recording craft in the sky, but it was also capturing the audio, and actually you can hear it on one of his recordings, and it's quite phenomenal. And then during that same couple of days, I was camping out in just like a tiny little bivy sack. It's like basically like a mini tent, little like cocoon kind of tent, and which I love that kind of thing. And so it was summer, so the sun came up really, really, really early. This was July of 2020, yeah. And the sun, and it's the Pacific Northwest, it's Washington State, and the sun was coming up really, really early. Like I think it was like 4 in the morning or even earlier, it felt like. And I was hearing what sounded like teenagers, again, like hooting and hollering, like woohoo, like that kind of thing, and jumping in the river. And my mind was like, oh, it's some some kids playing and jumping in the river. And then it was like, I got up though, I started to realize, I was like, that's not teenagers. I was like, that's not humans. And I like got up, but I got the sense it was for me because I actually went to try to find one of my friends that I had, met the night before, to be like, hey, there's Sasquatch. But it was like, it wasn't, it was meant to be for me. And so this is in part like our telepathic abilities opening up. And being of the right frequency, of a very peaceful, kind, loving frequency that, I really want to be as much of that kind of person as possible. And I hope you all do too. I feel like if you resonate with my content, then perhaps that's something we really share, is just wanting to be really kind-hearted, loving people. And so this is like, to be of that frequency is to attract these benevolent beings like Sasquatch into our lives, and to welcome them, their energy, and just to have gratitude for their presence on the planet, of them like having, you know, like a fast spin vibration, like they're very peaceful and loving species, and they carry human genetics, and it's all, I definitely don't know the major details on it, but there are books you can find, and there are definitely people that have really spent a lot of time, like if they have property where Sasquatch come, and then they leave sticks, or people leave presents for them. It's a whole culture that I actually know very little about. But I had another experience out in Arizona. I was in Sedona area, and I would just took my sleeping bag and camping pad and found somewhere remote to sleep for the night. And I was like traveling. I was basically like living on the road, living out of like vehicles and stuff, and for the fun of it. And so that time I remember hearing them from across this wide valley, and I could distinctly, because I was in a semi-sleep state, and so it was this third eye visual of like, I heard a male and a female, and I could like almost see them in my third eye, of like, I could sense when it was the male and when it was the female very clearly, and I could detect it in my third eye of when each one was doing their calls. So I've probably had about at least 7 or 10 experiences. One of the most profound experiences I ever had was with one of my good friends, and we're like, let's go stargazing out. It was between Flagstaff and Sedona, Griffith Spring. And so we just put a blanket out, we're lying, and we're seeing all kinds of shooting stars and like having great conversation, and then we started to hear like a single male, and he let out the longest, loudest Sasquatch call I've ever heard. It was like, I swear it lasted for like 30 seconds. It was so long and loud. And it was so profound. It's just, you know, when you hear this, there's no doubt in your mind. This is not something someone can make up, because this is like, you feel the energy. And it's, again, why you have to be of a certain level of sensitivity, of like, you know, empathy and caring. I believe, you know, please someone correct me if you feel that's not accurate in some way, but for them to want to interact with you, you know. And so I said to my friend, I was like, you know what that is, right? And he was like, shh. And I think he was like maybe a little bit nervous, but I was just thrilled. And we still talk about it to this day, of how profound an experience was. So the male lets out this really, really long call, and I'm just like so excited. And then after he finishes his call, we heard like a whole bunch of them joining in, like a chorus of like, gosh, I want to say it felt like anywhere from like 15 to 30, I guess. 15 to 25 or 22, I don't know, like, it was so incredible. And it was almost like they came there for us, like they knew we were going to be there, and they have the ability to travel through dimensions. So that, you know, there was another time when, so that was the first time I initiated someone. So I got initiated, then I had a bunch of experiences on my own, and then I initiated my good friend, and then a couple years ago I was up in Maine in Unity, hanging out with my sister and this little cabin there, and on the land, and And so I was chilly again. I went to put on my Sasquatch sweatshirt, the same one here. I went to put it on, but I forgot that I had put it on, you know. It's one of my favorite sweatshirts. And so we go and sit on the couch and we got like the doors, these like barn doors open or like screen doors or something. And start hearing what sounds like coyotes. And I was like, we were both simultaneous. I was like, oh, coyotes. And she's like, oh yeah, the owls. So then my brain was like, oh, is it an owl? And then at the same time, I was like, wait, Vicky. I was like, is that Sasquatch? And then it got so quiet, like you could hear a pin drop. When they had been, they were making noise, right? And it was like, as soon as I said that, it was like silence. And then her and I, both of our jaws just dropped. And then I looked down, or she pointed at it, that I had put the sweatshirt on, because I had forgotten. So it was almost like, yeah, by having love in our heart for them and knowing that they're kind and benevolent and like incredibly spiritually evolved beings. And you know, people have fun with this kind of thing, right? But it's like, you know, you can see he's holding the peace sign. At least that's how I want to see it in my mind. It's like peace, because they're just such loving creatures. And I have friends that have had like probably many, many, many more experiences than I have. Like I've met people that, and they're just really beautiful, kind, loving people. And so yeah, I hope we can all really emulate that cuddly, loving, warm-blooded, sweet energy that the Sasquatch really embody. And as I'm getting ready to go to this event that I had such a generous donation come in, that is gonna be like a good part of it. And then I feel like the any other abundance that I need is gonna come in, because at this point, really with everything I've been telling you all of just envisioning things with our third eye, and then, you know, we still take action, of course, but it's like we're guided to take like the most important action in every moment. Like we allow our own, you know, soul, our consciousness, the plasma vortex of our soul. It's like when that is pure and authentic and deeply rooted in the authentic pixel that each one of us has in our heart, like you want to call it the God spark, the God particle in our heart, that portal to source creation, that every part of us, this whole projection of this reality is just, it's like fractalically, it's like a hologram of light that's fractalic that is coming through this portal in our heart. So it's, the more that we all tap into this, and I can sense you all are, anyone that's been following this work, like I can sense your conscious, like us as a group, like I say frequently, we're connecting to each other across time and space. It's like, I can sense you all tapping into that, and and you know, following this kind of, these concepts and incorporating them into your view of your life of like, all right, I see what I don't like, now how do I flip that? How do I invert that thought to the positive version of what I do want to create? And the more we train our brain, and we train our brain to ask the heart and to serve the heart, right? Because if this is like where our authentic self is truly coming from, and it is like a singularity, it's a black hole, it's our connection to the 0 point, God, source, love, the one consciousness. This is how we're all connected to each other, right? You know, it's like just getting to the root of how to navigate our reality, to generate the life that we want, to write the stories we want that are new. And if we find ourselves telling the old stories, we even like rewrite the old stories, you know, rewrite things in the past. What would we do now? What was that outcome? There's so many ways we can go about it. There's infinite ways to move past, but ultimately we want to be writing new stories and being like, oh, you know what? I can do this. Even myself, it's like I go back and forth. I'm like, I want to design and build a spaceship. And then I'm like, okay, that's too much. Just do a meditation chamber, right? And then it's like, then I'll be like, wait, no, I really think I can do it if I just put enough intention, you know? And so it's like, I'll probably, you know, I suppose it's like, I can still have the long-term dream, and that's totally fine, but having a real practical objective that I can actually accomplish within a couple months' time, that feels really great. And then I'm not waiting for this to happen, but I can still envision, like, you know what, I still think that'd be a really great world line to traverse, to do something like that. So yeah, what do you all want to do? What do you see writing for yourself in terms of your story? What is the, you know, how do you want to upgrade your avatar? It's like, for me, I'm like, okay, my teeth and gums, I want to have healthier teeth and gums and all this, and I like stretch my jaw, and I started even massaging my whole jaw, like washing my hands well, and maybe I'll start putting like coconut oil on my hands or something. But just when we give ourselves our own preventative health care, we don't need to go, you know, let me say this in like a positive way. It's like, prevention means that things don't happen when we prevent them from happening. It's like prevention, like a part of prevention is like self-care. It's just what aspect of the body, you know, wants love. And it's just like, and it's sort of like I've talked about before, how traumatic events will get stored in the energy body. So when we're working with the physical body, it's like we can find those sorts of points can be related to something traumatic that happened in the energy body. So by giving love to that part of the body, whether it's just massaging it or putting some like high quality, like totally natural, like body care, like coconut oil, or like a really, you know, pure ingredient lotion or something like that, where you would eat it, you know, like if you wouldn't eat it, you shouldn't be putting it on your body, because the skin absorbs 50% of what we put on it. So just try to keep that in mind. I hope you all can find some natural products, if there are ones that are calling out to you, to upgrade your life in that way. It's something I highly encourage, and I'm happy to support if anyone wants to talk about that topic. Please feel free to email me, because I can help get you on the right track. And it's just, it's a way that I like to help educate people, not necessarily the focus of this channel or this, you know, journey that we're on, because this is a true journey of consciousness that, you know, that we're on together. And I, again, am like grateful every time any of you want to take the trip with me as your tour guide. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about Sasquatch and getting ready for this trip. And I'm going to be asking people that start sharing stories with me, I'm going to be asking them if they want to go on film or be recorded with their voice telling their stories, so I can share them with you all, because I know there's going to be some really incredible people with phenomenal experiences that they're going to want, that, you know, that's part of the fun of going to these types of events, is we get to talk to each other and tell each other all our great stories. So yeah, I want to hear your stories. If you ever want to share something with me, if you've had an experience about anything like this, feel free to email me. I try to put it in the notes every time now, as well as Instagram. And again, I just highly recommend, because, you know, one of the topics we're doing, just this little add-on here, if you want to strengthen your third eye vision, start looking at the sacred geometry. And there's an artist that I highly recommend on Instagram. I spelled his name incorrectly when I mentioned him before. It's Janthonizer. It's Janthonizor. And I have been finding his sacred geometry like to be very third eye activating. And he also has that auto stereogram that I told you about, that I feel like this is part of how we can strengthen our third eye, the consciousness, the tip of the plasma vortex. This artwork is where you have to like cross your eyes and kind of relax your eyes, and you have to find the right focal point. And I really think there's something to it. It's a topic I want to get into more of, like, can we start working with those and more complex versions of them, more sophisticated versions, to like literally train? Because when you're looking at it, it's like you're looking at flat paper with just blurry, and then all of a sudden, you know, it turns 3D in front of you. And so for me, that feels like a key of understanding how this reality is appearing to us. Like, it's just showing, it's sort of like our eyes are helping our consciousness transition from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. It used to be called, well, there was a popular series of books called Magic Eye when I was a kid growing up in the 90s, and we loved those things, and we bought posters even, I think. But I just think there's something to this of like just inner eye activation, or just, so I'm curious, yeah, please let me know if it's something that interests you all as well, or if you have anything you want to share. I always enjoy hearing you share comments and reaching out by email. So hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day or evening or rising or afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. So grateful you're here, and really, really excited to share with you all like some of the stuff that I'm gonna learn at this upcoming event. So gearing up for a road trip, and I'm gonna try to keep making the videos though on the road. It'll probably be with my phone, but that might be fun because you'll all get to see where I'm going, and it's just been enjoyable keeping up with the rhythm of this. So thank you for being here. So much love to you all.